Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ant Pod. This is now episode 8 and today we are talking about being a female ant keeper in the ant keeping community. Is this normal? Is there lots of women or is it just a few? To help us answer this, I've brought two people in that may help answer these questions and much more. Starting with Ants England. Ants England is a pretty newly started YouTuber, but she has also been on Instagram for quite some time. Say hello, Ants England.
Hello.
Hello to you. Now, Sadie, that's what we're gonna call you here on, the podcast. How long have you been keeping ants for now?
Oh, I got my first colony about 5 or 6 years ago, which was just a Lasius niger colony, and I still have them, and they were the only colony I kept for years. But about 3 years ago, I started keeping other native species like Lasius flavus and different Miraca species, but it's only really been the last 18 months to 2 years that I've been a bit more adventurous, like with getting a few Camponotus colonies and some different Mesa species and things like that.
I wrote down in the script that that's quite some time, but 6 years, I actually only thought it was like a few years. If you have had that colony since the beginning, that Lasius niger must be massive. Is that the colony where you refer the queen to the machine, or is that a different colony?
No, that's the machine. Yeah, she's been going. She's been going for a long time. Sometimes she will, after hibernation, she'll have a massive drop in numbers, and we do lose a lot. But she always picks back up.
Wow, I actually didn't know that. I thought it was a lot of a younger colony, but yeah, we learn something every day. Now, together with Sadie, we also have Ninuturu, also known as Lynn. Say hello.
Hey.
Hello to you. You also have a YouTube channel, although you don't use it too often. But the main reason I've asked you to join this podcast is because, you seem to be kind of everywhere in the different comment sections of, the different YouTubers. And you always have some clever words to say. How long have you been keeping ants for?
Ooh, well, I started with my first colony that was back in 2006 or 2008 somewhere. And it was actually a small terrarium, and I just wanted to keep isopods, and I put a big ant in there because I was like, oh, fun. Well, that ended up being a colony because it was a queen after all, and she actually murdered everything inside the terrarium except for the colony. And I restarted in 2016, also with two Lasius niger species that I caught on top of my car, actually. And then in 2018, I started to keep different species in the mix.
Okay, so how long did you keep the first colony for? If you started in 2006 and started again in 2016.
The first colony was like only 2 years old or something, and it was this really tiny kind of bucket thing. Like, yeah, you could see through the walls, like very simple. Yeah. And of course, they kept growing and growing and growing, and I had no clue how to keep ants because I was very young. So the ants would escape everywhere. So I just released them back into the wild back in the day.
I must say, I love hearing ant stories that are the first stories are always the most fun ones. The ones you don't really expect because you're getting into the hobby and you don't necessarily know what you're getting into. But as we have concluded, you are both female and you're both ant keepers. So let's get right into the questions. Ants Netherlands have asked us, how long have you two been, in the ant keeping community? But I guess we have pretty much answered this, as you have both been, in here for quite some time, actually, a lot longer than I actually expected. So if you want to, before we go on to the next question, if you want to ask one of these questions, you can just head over to the Ant Pod Instagram, where I often make a story about, the upcoming interviews. So, going straight on with the next question, we have the urban ant keeper who asks, do you feel like there's any sexism in the ant keeping community? And let's just start with you, Lynn.
Not that I'm aware of, actually. Not that I've ever seen it, actually. No, not that I don't know. I've never encountered it myself.
Well, I mean, to protect you, I didn't know you were a female before I got corrected.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Like literally everybody is just like everybody everywhere on YouTube or Discord. It's like everybody is a guy. Like literally until you say I'm a girl and they're like, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah, I remember that my fiance, she was just so mad. Like, why would you assume she was a boy? I don't know. I just assumed.
That happens all
Um,
the time.
but I must say, Ants England, you're vocal, so it's easy to find out that you are female. Have you experienced any sexism in the ant keeping community?
No, it did feel a bit like a bit of a boys' club when I first started, but I think it's just because they're all men. There's hardly any women at all in the community. But like I spoke to Lynn before we did this, and I thought I'll just introduce myself and say hello. And she treated me the same as the guys treated me. They're all lovely. They're all kind. So I've never had any issues personally.
I must say that's fantastic to hear. But I guess that's also the perks of having a small community, that we don't really have all of those people that shouldn't really be in the community. So I mean, hopefully it doesn't change over time, but we never know. But going on to the next question, as you have just said, they're all. It seems like there's a lot of male ant keepers and boys. Do you think women are less likely to become ant keepers? Starting with you, Sadie.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think it's less likely for a female to start ant keeping. But I think that could be down to a lot of people start ant keeping because they watch Ants Canada. And that's all on YouTube. And YouTube's predominantly male. It's like 80% of YouTube watchers are men. So I think women ain't seeing it as much. And then I also think you don't really associate women with creepy crawlies and cutting up roaches and doing all the gross stuff. So I think that's also a part of it.
Yeah, that is very true. Do you have anything to add to this, Lynn? Do you think women are less likely to become, ant keepers?
Yeah, if you think about it, it is kind of true. I think it's also because some girls are a little bit squeamish and they have something small like an ant and they're afraid they might squish it or lose it somewhere. And indeed, the roaches and cutting up roaches and crickets and everything, you have to have a certain mindset for that, and not everybody has that, I guess.
Very true. I recently started my roach farm, and it is something totally different killing a roach than killing a mealworm. I personally hate it a lot more. I'm a lot more to those mealworms, but there's not as much protein in them. But both of you have actually been in ant keeping before Ants Canada really, went crazy. How did you two start ant keeping? Of course, we just heard, Lynn, that you got a queen by mistake. But how did you then re-find the hobby years later?
Ooh, tough question. I think there was this guy on YouTube that's called, he used to be called Ants MBS, I think. And his real name is Filenzo. And Filenzo also had colonies and was DIYing and everything. And I found it pretty interesting. And he actually has deleted everything off his YouTube now, so that's kind of sad because he quit ant keeping. He quit. He didn't find it interesting anymore or something. Yeah, it happens sometimes. And I found it pretty amazing that you can go from just a single one to a lot, like I had in the past. And I wanted to retry that actually.
It's actually, it must be, I think it's only the second or third time I've heard somebody get into ant keeping without the help of Ants Canada. But what about you, Sadie? How did you get into, ant keeping?
Like everyone, the boring answer, Ants Canada. Spiraling one night, don't know how it ever recommended ants to me. I'm not an insect person at all. They've always been pests, and I'm probably one of the squeamish girls that doesn't like the bugs and everything else. So I was so shocked that I took an interest into it. But then, like when you see the teamwork amongst ants and how interesting it can be, I was just hooked.
Yeah, it's funny because my fiance, she also quite quickly noticed how cool they were, as I binge watched a lot of Ants Canada's videos. So she's always been, she's always said yes to the project because she also finds them interesting. So it's fun thinking about how much this 80%. I haven't heard this 80% are meant before, but I can definitely see that it's real, and that's probably a big reason why there's a lack of females in the ant keeping community. But Sadie, going on to the next question, you have a husband and you have a daughter and a son, quite a big family. What do all of they say to you keeping ants? Are they all in, or what do they say to it?
Well, my son's 16 and he thinks I'm mad. Like, especially like when he sees me out with the wild colonies, or if it's flying ant day, like he probably thinks I look like a nutter running around with test tubes collecting ants, and probably highly embarrassed at how I get on with doing all this. But my husband's really good. He doesn't keep ants, but he's tempted all the time. Like he always says, oh, he's going to do a Star Wars setup, or he's going to do a Lord of the Rings setup, and but he's never got round to it. But it's my daughter keeps ants.
How does that then work? Is your colony totally separated from her colony, or are they in the same room? Or because I've heard you say before that, well, your daughter keeps ants. How does that all work?
Yeah, she's got her ants in her room, and my ants are. We've got the tiniest bedroom, so my ants are all in the living room, and I've got some in the kitchen. So hers are contained, but she's so good. She knows, like, off the top of her head, you could ask her a question and she'll know the temperature, the humidity, everything it requires. Whereas I'll be like looking through papers, trying to work out like what one needs this, or going back to references. But she's got it down.
How old is she then? And how does she go out and cut the roaches herself, or do you have to do the dirty work?
No, she was doing it long before I was. She's 10, and she started getting into it when she was about 7. And she takes her ants to school and shows them off, and like she's got her friends involved in ant keeping, which I think is amazing. Like, and they'll send each other pictures of their ants. And it all happened a lot during COVID when we was all in lockdown and all the school work was done at home. She was like showing people her ants, and then when it was the flying ant day, all the kids were then showing Katie what they had caught on their adventures that day. So it was really nice to see.
That's really cool. It's amazing. It'll be really interesting to see over the next few years how the ant keeping community evolves, because it seems like after Ants Canada gone crazy a few years back, there's a lot of people that are like under 16. There's a lot of these 14, 13-year-olds and these younger generations. So it'll be interesting to see if the ant keeping just explodes over the next while. But we have concluded that both of you have kept ants for quite some time. And well, how many colonies do you two keep today, starting with Lynn?
I think I have a total of 36 colonies and 27 different species.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. 27 different species.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not going to name them all because I will butcher those names, like literally butcher all of them.
What is the worst name then out of all of those 27?
Like Fidoli is easy, but then the mega sepala, I think I don't know Latin.
Oh no, it's all good. But wow, 27. How big are they then? Are they like founding colonies, or how big are they?
Oh, wide range. Well, you probably know my maculatus. Well, my maculatus takes up half the room, and then you have the centellus, and the centellus also takes up half the room. And then I have this big Lasius niger, but I'm actually pretty scared that the queen might have died of that colony, so I have to check that out after hibernation. A bigger Myrmica rubra. Then I actually have some smaller founding colonies that are still test tube size, or Tar Heel heart, mini heart size, because I like to keep my ants in those. It's pretty much that, actually.
I must say I didn't expect you to say 27. But what about you, Sadie? How many colonies do you keep today? If we also count your daughter, how many colonies are in the house?
Oh, well, even with my daughters, it's not going to be as impressive as Lynn's number. I have 14 species, and then I think Katie only has 2 different to mine. So together we'd have 16 species, but between us we've probably got around 60 to 70 colonies. But a lot of them are in test tubes, because at the moment...
What?
A lot of them are in test tubes, but we're doing an experiment at the moment. So we've got multiple Lasius flavus, and we've got like one with 2 queens, all the way up to 8, just to see like the rate of growth difference and see if some queens will just sit back and not do nothing, or if we'll get a big massive colony at the end.
But you said 60 founding colonies then.
60 in total, counting all of our originals.
Wait, 60 or 16 then?
We have 16 species,
Okay.
but in total we've probably got 60 to 70 colonies. But a lot of them are obviously doubles, and all the doubles are natives.
Once more, that's quite insane. I think I have 25 colonies or something in total. So you both have more than me then.
Ours go up and down because Katie will get a friend interested in ant keeping, and then she'll be like, "Mom, can I just give my friend this colony?" And then she's going raiding through the drawer and she's looking for a tub for them and substrate for them and everything else. So we do give away a lot as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, I must say it's an interesting experiment with the delicious flavors, because as far as I can see around, well, the different people I follow, it seems like more than 5 queens and they start eating each other's eggs. Can you see anything of that already, or?
So far, it's been so good. We've had one queen die in the 5 queen colony, but they all seem to be laying. And I don't know if that will change later on and they'll pick a dominant one and that'll be the main layer, or whether we'll have a group of them laying. But I can't see all in the 8 colony. I can't see them all laying forever.
No, that's really interesting. I still have my 5 queen that then became 4 queens, and now 2 of the queens have like only 2 working legs, so they're just always on the side. But they're still inside the colony. It's really weird. It will be really interesting to see how long they survive, because some people online think they're still laying eggs, while others think they're just kept. If food should run low, they can eat the queens. So that'll definitely be interesting to see over time what they will do to those semi-dead queens.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
What about you, Lynn? Do you have any experimental colonies at home?
Well, besides mangled queens with missing legs and missing antennas. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I have a Ligniparda that's been over a year old and still doesn't have any workers because she got sent all over the place by different shops and everything. And she doesn't have a leg and she doesn't have an antenna, and she's still going. She's still trying to raise her brood. So that's the only experiment, I guess, that I have.
But she have brood or what?
Yeah, she had, when she came to me, she had pupa, but she didn't know what to do with it, so it died. So that's quite sad. And now she has larvae again, so I have pretty high hopes that this time she might open them. And if not, that I hope to be in time so I can open the pupa myself if needed.
Yeah, I've often heard about people having to open the pupae by themselves. Have any of you tried it?
No, that seems way too fiddly for me.
Exactly. What about you, Lynn?
Only when I'm too late, usually. Because I think, oh no, it's turning really dark now, and then I'll try and it's usually already dead.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I wanted to. I can't quite remember the colony, but I just saw that the pupae was starting to go black, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try, but I failed. But maybe the worker was still inside. I'm not sure. But you two, well, you have quite a lot of different species then, and we have nobody ant keepers and the urban ant keeper asking, what is your favorite species? Now that is, of course, probably one of the hardest questions you can ask an ant keeper. But starting with you, Sadie, what is your favorite species that you keep, and what is your favorite species or dream species that you would like to keep?
My favourite species that I keep is going to be the Nikos. They're just so impressive. The rate that they grow, there's just something going on all the time. They're active. You look at the nest one day and then the next day it looks like there's so many more workers and they're constantly doing stuff. They're so exciting to keep. My dream species would be leaf cutters, 100%.
Would you then go for the acros or the adder?
I would be happy to have either, but I think I'd go for the owl.
Okay, you want 11 million workers.
Yet they had them at the local zoo to me, then they don't have them no more. And I'd pay to go into the zoo and I would literally just sit by this ant thing all day, and I could be there for hours. And we couldn't even see the fungus. They had that underneath the setup. So you couldn't see that. You could just see the ants and you could just see them cutting leaves and carrying them, and I could have been there all day.
they are just such an amazing species. But what about you, Lynn? Your favorite species you keep and your dream species?
Well, I think my favorite personal species would be Camponotus maculatus. Gorgeous, big, giant, aggressive ants. The queen is beautiful, the workers are beautiful, everything is beautiful, and they grow insane. Like my colony is only a year old and it's already probably over the 2,000 or 3,000 workers. And then my favorite species altogether, or a dream species to keep, would probably be Dinomyrmex gigas, because I love big ants and they are gigantic.
You're gonna have to explain a little bit about that one. I actually don't know it. I have a picture like a really pointy ant, but what is that species?
Well, they used to be called Camponotus gigas. And actually, I don't know much info on them, actually. Besides that, they're extremely hard to ship because they often get shipped and they actually die in the progress, or the queen eats their eggs and then she dies, and stuff like that. But she would be like totally the size of your finger. That's how big the queen is, probably even bigger. And then those workers are also like 2 or 1 digit of your finger. So they're insanely giant and big. And I'm actually not sure how to even keep those, but they are amazing.
The idea of keeping them I can hear. but yeah, I must say I would love to see like a Mimisia or like a really big ant in real life. I would just, when I saw the otter queen, I was so mind blown that an ant could be that big. But yeah, maybe one day we can see one. But going on towards the next question, we have Gecko Ants asking, what is the most beautiful species you keep? Now, Lynn, you already answered this a little bit, but can you just say it for the record, what is the most beautiful ant and species you have?
Camponotus maculatus, I think, in my opinion.
Nice and simple. Is there a second place?
Oh. Oh, that's a hard one. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there what is the ugliest ant you keep? Is there an ant that's just really ugly then?
Because I like big ants, the Tetramorium caspitum is like really tiny, or at least the Ninuturu are really tiny, and that makes me a little bit because they're so tiny and I can't really see them that well. So I guess that's the thing.
I completely agree. I wasn't. They are smaller than Lasius niger and smaller than Lasius flavus almost. I was really impressed for how small the Ninuturu were. I did not expect that when I got them. Or when the Ninuturu arrived. But what about you, Sadie? The most ugly and the most beautiful species you keep?
I don't think any of them are ugly. They're all cute.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Yeah, but if it's the ones I keep, it would be a toss-up between, I'm dreading saying this, Cruentatus. Sorry, right. They're Camponotus, Cruentatus or something like that, but they've got like the gold butts, the goldy orange bombs. I think they're super pretty. But I'd very recently, they only come the other week, got Camponotus feds, and I think they are stunning. They're like so cute, so pale, almost like a transparent yellow, and it makes their eyes look so big and dark. They're adorable. They are definitely the most beautiful species that I keep.
I must say, with that description about the ants, it's so cool that when you get into ant keeping, you notice all of these things. But I can just, when you're saying about the colors and the eyes, I can just see a person just looking like you, like what? But that's the beauty of ants. You don't really notice how beautiful they are until you start really looking at them.
Exactly.
Now, so as some of you out there may know, the podcast have been lagging just a little bit, and that's mainly just because I really don't have that much time lately. So the podcast will be a little bit shorter today, and I'm also starting a new segment in this podcast to just give it some extra free time. So it's the same questions every single podcast, and it's something I've completely stolen from another podcast, and it's called the Quickfire Round. So the Quickfire Round is, like I said, just 5 questions that is the same for every single guest. And today we have Sadie and Lynn to answer these 5 questions. So, are you two ready for the Quickfire Round?
Yes.
sure.
Perfect. So starting with Sadie, where are you thinking ant keeping is going over the next few years? Like with a lot of people joining or futuristic smartness, what are you looking the most forward to over the next few years?
Well, I'm hoping it gets more and more popular so that it gets to the point where we can just go into a pet shop and just buy a nest, buy an outworld, and get it everything at the pet shop. So that you can still order online, but you can go and view stuff as well. I think there's not the demand for it yet, but hopefully soon.
That would definitely be cool, and I can already now imagine the scandals with big companies making a bad nest, like we already have had a bit with the gel farms. What about you, Lind? What are you looking the most forward to with future of ant keeping?
Well, I just hope that it will stay as good as it is. Yeah. I just hope that it will stay as good as it is right now, because I fear that if it grows too much, that people will try to make money. Like they are actually already trying to make money off people that don't know much about ant keeping, and then try to sell things that are totally not handy for ant keeping and stuff like that. So I hope it will stay as cool and sweet as it is now, like everybody helping each other and not fighting over each other, trying to be the better ant keeper.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We have a great community at the moment where pretty much we all are supporting each other, and it would be a shame if we start having money making people joining and money problems, and yeah, it's a good futuristic wish. But going on towards the next question, what is starting with you, Lynn? What is your favorite ant food, and that is both a protein and a sugar solution? What do you use at least?
I personally use Biformica Sunburst as a sugar solution, because it has, what do you call these? Certain preservatives, so I don't have to be afraid that I accidentally poison or kill my ants, because it actually has happened here in the past, and I fear it happening ever since.
Is that a product you want to warn about, or?
No, I just I made a sugar water solution one day, one day, and it went bad really fast, probably because of the warm weather. And if it goes bad and the ants drink it, they will actually die of it because it becomes poisonous to them. So you have all these ants acting really crazy and shaking their legs and running around and lying upside down or on their sides, and just the whole colony can be wiped out by a mistake like that. And imagine it happening to your biggest colony or your favorite colony, and it's so scary to see because you can't do anything about it. You're completely helpless.
Wow.
That scares me.
Yeah, definitely. That's wow. I've fed my ants some, I wouldn't say old sugar water before, but I've probably left it in there a bit too long. But I must say I've joined you on just sugar, using some sugar solution that I have bought. But what do you use as a protein source then?
I keep my own roaches, and I breed my own roaches, and I usually, depending on if I can even kill them, because I like my roaches as well, feed my roaches and jelly pots.
Nice. And what about you, Sadie? Favorite protein source and favorite sugar solution?
Kind similar to Lynn, like for sugars, I prefer to buy the pre-made sugar solutions, but I use Antantic's coloured sugar snaps or the Ant Ladies cotton candy. And it also gives them the colour as well in their gaster, so I like that. And then you can store it in the fridge and it lasts like 6 months to a year, depending on which one you get. And I think that's super handy. And for protein, same as Lynn, like I breed my own roaches, but if it's in a test tube, I'll use mealworms instead, just because you care a bit for the roaches because you're looking after them for so long. It's harder to cut them into so many pieces. It just doesn't feel nice.
I must say about that, since we're all three using roaches, I've just recently started. I personally, how do you kill them and how do you chop them up? Because mine smells so bad, and I really hate it. I must say, worst part of ant keeping in my eyes is definitely cutting roaches. How do you two go around cutting roaches? Starting with Lynn.
Well, the fastest way to kill a roach would be to just chuck them in the freezer, and then you won't have anything moving around. But I personally use my tweezers to kind of, you put it, hard to explain, under the head and like on the place where all the paws come out, and then you just press there, and it should damage or flatten the complete nervous system, so they stop moving around. And then I usually make 3 cuts: the head and the legs and the abdomen, and that's it.
Do they then also use this really disgusting smell, or is that something you haven't noticed?
No, mine don't smell, but I don't feed them cat food like you do, so they don't have to smell. I feed them a special cockroach chow, and that's just powder made from, I think it's kind of a chicken feed, so it has high protein inside of there, and I feed them a lot of apples, so they generally smell sweet.
How do you feed them this powder then?
I just have this corner of powder, and sometimes I put a little bit of fish food over it, because they like the fish food more than the powder, of course. Yeah, it's just in the corner of their enclosure.
Interesting. I must say, I thought that the smelly part was something. I got told on when I was on my job that if you step on a roach because they have done it on a vacation, they squirm out this terrible smell, and maybe it's just psychological, but ever since I heard that once I kill a roach, they just smell so terrible. So that weird. I thought it was common. How about you, Sadie? Do you have smelly problems with your roaches?
No, mine only eat. They definitely don't eat cat food, but they eat like fresh vegetables, and they eat oats. And now I've heard Lynn talk about this roach powder. I think I'm going to look that up when we get off.
Definitely agree on that.
Yeah, but mine don't smell.
Okay, so I'm gonna go in and remove the cat food after this. That's apparently the tip for today. So don't hear that on the YouTube video where they say give some dog and cat food. Yep, forgot about that. Okay, so so both of you use both sugar solutions, and you use roaches. Nice and interesting. Going on towards the next question, what is your biggest regret or mistake since you starting with Sadie?
The biggest mistake would have been buying too much unnecessary stuff early on. It was just a total waste. Never ever got around to using it. Ended up giving it away. And yeah, just go slow. When you get your first colony, you need a test tube. That's it. But I had like 20 nests for this one colony that took a year before it even needed a nest.
Oh yeah, I have 10 nests or something. I remember I wanted to buy these things for the different colonies. And the different colonies still don't need it now 6 months later, so yeah.
Yeah, it's really easy to get carried away.
Exactly. They just look so cool, and then you want to put your ants inside, but then they don't grow up to the size they need. What about you, Lynn? Your biggest mistake / regret?
That probably would be moving too fast. Like, you have this colony and it's tiny in a test tube, and then you right away buy a nest and you want to move them in the nest, and you want to move them in an outworld and big outworld and make everything fancy and move fast and grow strong, and it doesn't work. You want to have the colony so big so fast, and it just doesn't work that way. You just have to take it slow and keep them in a test tube. The longer the better. But yeah, that's probably, I did that quite a few times actually. I just did it wrong.
It's not something to take just for fun. These test tube things are really serious. All my colonies, when I've moved them out of the test tubes, they just haven't done as well as in the test tube. So now just as hard as it is to just keep them in the test tube, in my as far as I can see, the colonies just do so much better. But going on towards the next quickfire round, this is not quick at all, but that's just how it is. How long do you use on ant keeping just all around the ants on a weekly basis, starting with Yulin?
If I really want to do everything that I have to do, I will probably do like an hour a day. But I usually mix it up because I also have my other pets, and I usually do it all at the same time, so just jump around from colony to other pet to other pet to colony and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's around, if you would say, an average of around an hour a day.
Yeah.
I must say that's quite a lot, but then again, you have quite a lot of colonies. What about you, Sadie?
I potter around with mine every day. So like, if some looks like they're looking around for food, then I'm chucking in food. So I don't have like one particular day where I sit down religiously and get them all done. But if I do want to clean them all up, like if I've got someone coming around and I know I'm going to show off all my ants, then it probably takes me 4 hours to clean them all out, clean all the glass inside and out, redo the barriers, and make them look their best.
That is quite some time. I'm not really sure. Since hibernation, I must say I'm really enjoying hibernation. Although I miss the native colonies, it's so nice only having to feed like 5 colonies. It's so much quicker. I must say, I am. Yeah, that's.
It makes it more enjoyable as well, don't it? It feels like a chore if you've got so many.
Exactly.
But then when you cut it down, it's just like the amount of time I'm getting to spend with the Nicos, like they're just incredible. So when I had all the other colonies, then I didn't have that time to sit there and watch them eat for ages and muck around with them and not play with them, but like just watch them do their crazy bits.
Yeah, you just bond a little bit more now where you don't have as many colonies to bond with, at least in my experiments.
Yeah, and it makes way for all the Christmas decorations and the Christmas tree, getting the natives out into the garage for a while.
A little pop-in question then. How many colonies, starting with you, Sadie, do you keep that are exotics?
I think I've got about 5 that are about the same as you. I think it's about 5 that I've still got out. But my Messrs Barbarous, I don't hibernate, so they're out as well. So I've got 6 out at the minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna disappoint Ants Netherlands if he hears this, because I'm not hibernating my Messrs Barbarous either. I was planning on cooling my ant room to these 19-18 degrees, so they had like a cooler environment. But now I have to leave cutters, and now it's 26 degrees in here. So yeah. That's how it is. What about you, Lynn? How many colonies do you have that are currently not hibernating?
25. And because...
Oh my god.
Yeah. And because the seasons are switched in Africa, and I'm pretty sure Australia, I'm not sure, but Australia as well, my Maculatus, Centellus and Consobrinus are growing like crazy at this moment, and I actually have to buy new nests again because they're growing so fast.
Do you then hibernate them in the summer, or do you just turn off the heating cable, or do you do anything? Because I'm imagining they don't need that much cooling without being sure.
Yeah, usually in the summer it's also pretty tricky because the rooms also heat up, so it gets 25 to 30 degrees sometimes inside. But usually they just have lesser brood, so they accept less protein, so that's simpler, I guess. But I don't really do anything like cooling them down or so.
Yeah, interesting. Now going on towards the last question in the quickfire round, and the last question, unless some other question pops in. It doesn't have to be ant related at all, but what is your favorite YouTuber? Starting with Sadie. And if we should just make it a little bit harder, favorite. You don't have to say me, by the way. You don't have to say me. But your favorite ant YouTuber and just your favorite YouTuber.
Well, this is such a horrible question because I'm friends with
I know.
so many.
Okay. I'm gonna. It's quite hard for me to say who I like the most. But if you have 5 videos to see from, well, the 5 different YouTubers, who would you take in these top? Who would you start with?
Oh, I like your videos. I like Antscapes. Obviously, my daughter, she's got a little YouTube channel. She's only done 3 videos though. So she's the Ant Princess. And I like Ant's Hood. And Ant's Knowledge. He's such a clever, like he's only young. I think he's under 16, but he's so clever. And like, I love seeing his videos. He's not a bigger channel as some of the others. But I just love hearing he's got an Irish Italian accent. and I just think it sounds so nice. I could just watch him.
No, I'm not even subscribed. I'm now subscribed to him as well.
And you can do that. You can still do that.
Yeah, I am a subscriber, so everyone go subscribe to him on the chores of Ants England. Is it impossible to say a top YouTuber that you would start watching if you have a video from Ryan and Hood and me and all of these? Is it too hard to say who you would start with?
Openly, it's too hard for me to say because I don't want to upset anyone. But Ant Holleufer, I will pick you because you were lovely enough to invite me on your channel, and I love how happy you are in all your videos. The same with Ryan. You and Ryan together, I think, is the best combination.
Yeah, I love chatting with Ryan. We have like the same mentality. I feel like we have the same happiness.
Yeah, you're looking at you two. You just always look happy. I can't imagine either of you sad. And then when you're together, it's like a proper bromance between the two of you. I love it.
Loving hearing this. But do you still watch YouTube other than ant-related YouTube? Do you then have a favorite non-ant YouTuber?
Oh, I watch weird stuff on the internet. Not weird.
We are ant keepers. We are already in the weird department. I would just like to clarify.
Yeah, like I'll watch a lot of American politics, and I'll watch police videos and court cases and Karen videos and anything.
Okay, a bit all over the place. Now, before we go over to you, Lynn, I would just like to say that I don't have anything against just saying it out loud, because, well, yeah, that's how it is. Personally, I think if I have a video from Ants Hood and Brian and all of these people, I always take Ants Hood in the top, and then Aesthetic Ants, and then just whoever like comes to like Ryan or like who comes, because those two are just I'm not gonna lie, Ants Hood, since he got all of these crazy ants, he's just always on the top. I just start with his videos and go from there.
Yeah, but he's got a really weird accent. Like, you should remind him that he has got such a weird accent.
What? What? You just said before you didn't want to offend anybody.
No, he says it about me all the time, so this is payback.
Oh, okay.
Answered, terrible bloke.
Okay.
I love him, really.
Okay. Did not see this one coming. But what about you, Lynn? Can you pick a favorite ant YouTuber and favorite non-ant YouTuber?
Well, I'm probably gonna offend you by saying, who is Ryan?
Oh, Antscapes.
I don't know him, so I probably have to check him out. Yeah. How weird is that?
Wait, what? I mean, I stream with him.
You do know Antscapes.
Don't you know Antscapes?
No, I don't.
Wow.
So that's a first.
Oh,
wow.
He does amazing natural setups. They are beautiful.
Wait, what? I thought you were joking.
No, really. No, I don't know him, so I have to look him up. I think I have his YouTube open here now, so I'll check it out later. But
he was on one of my live streams.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, Ryan, if you're listening. I'm sorry.
I hope he doesn't listen.
Oh, okay. So then you can't pick Ryan, I guess, but a favorite ant YouTuber then.
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite, actually.
Who would you start with if you have a video from all of us?
It depends on the content of the video, really.
Oh.
That was a good answer. I wish I said that.
Yeah, but instead you went out and said you hate Ants Hood.
I don't hate Ants Hood. I said he's got a really weird accent.
Oh, yeah. Same. No. It's all fun games to all those who don't understand that. So, okay. If you don't have a favorite ant YouTuber, do you have a favorite non-ant YouTuber?
Nope. I could go here and promote my boyfriend's channel, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. He's got to grow himself.
Oh wait, I must say I didn't know you have a boyfriend. What do he say to you keeping ants?
Oh well, he doesn't. Well, he's fair. Like, I am the guy in the relationship, and he's the girl, and he's actually quite squeamish about the ants and afraid they're escaping and everything. So one time there was this intelligence working, strolling around the hallway, and he was like, "Lynn, there's an ant here, Lynn!" So I had to come and fix it. and find out in every enclosure if nothing escaped, because he was. Yeah, that's just how it goes.
Okay. Well, I must say this is the now the end of the first quick firing round and the end of the podcast. I must say this quick firing round was a lot more fun than I expected. So I was glad that we got some funny answers. But yeah, we have arrived to the end of this podcast, and I must say around 15 minutes, a lot longer than I expected. Do you have any final words, starting with you, Sadie?
Yeah, I've got a question for Lynn. If your boyfriend's scared of the creepy crawlies, you've sent me a picture with a very interesting animal on you. Does that not terrify him?
He didn't know.
Oh.
But yes, it would. If I would come running to him with that creature, oh, he would scream at me. He would yell at me. He would not like it at all.
What is that creature, if I may ask?
I put one of the Halloween, Madagascar Halloween hissing roaches on my face.
Very brave lady.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a picture you have to see to really imagine it. They're quite large, right?
Yeah, they are. It was an adult male, and that's the same size as my thumb, actually. So.
But yeah, any final words from you then, Lynn?
No, not really, actually. But it was nice being here. It was an honor.
I hope it wasn't too scary.
Yeah. I'm still nervous. I'm like adrenaline everywhere.
Yeah, it's all good fun. I remember when I had to interview Jordan, I was also I was really tripping, but it's just a casual conversation here on the Antpod. And saying that, we have now reached the end of this podcast. So what we do here on the Antpod is we end in a bit of an awkward moment where you two get to say bye in Ant Holleufer style, with some good high-pitched manner. So, are you understanding in that now?
Yeah, but you didn't tell me this before I agreed to do it.
No, that's kind of the silent killer to just show that we're all equal. So,
okay.
If you don't want to go too high, you don't have to. But yeah, thank you both for joining this Antpod episode 8. Now, hopefully, as I'm saying this, I don't have a plan for the next podcast, but it may be with Ryan that nobody apparently knows about. Oh, okay. I mean, 60% of the 60% of us who are here today know Ryan, but apparently that's not too much. But yeah, maybe it will be with Ryan and Anthony Rock about bioactive setups. But yeah, let's go into the bye format, starting with Lynn, and then going to Sadie, and then I'm ending it off. So. You two say bye, and then I say bye, okay? Are you two in on it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Starting with Lynn.
Bye!
And Sadie.
Sorry. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
I think that maybe I should have been on the men's chat, because I don't think I can go high like you two. Right, bye!
Nice and simple. And me in the end. Bye!